if you're currently using Zillow to help you in your home search, it can be an incredible tool, but it can only tell you so much. The truth is that two homes can be 5 minutes away from each other and have a completely different feel depending on the neighborhood that they're in. So I want to talk this week about what Zillow cannot tell you about a neighborhood. Because it can give you a lot of facts and a lot of data and a lot of details, but it can't tell you some of the things that are actually most important for buyers. So the first topic that I want to talk to you about is that every neighborhood has its own personality. And this is something that I talk about in a lot in my neighborhood videos. So even if two neighborhoods are very close to each other, and I always use these two examples because I have neighborhood sites set up for them. So let's take Sunrise Valley and Valley Green. Both are located in Center Valley, Upper Saucon Township. They are directly across the street from each other, right across Camp Meeting Road. And they were built around the same time period. They have completely different feels to them. And it doesn't mean that one's better than the other or one's worse than the other. There's trade-offs and positives and negatives on both, and it depends on the buyer and what the buyer's looking for. So it's not about one being better or worse than another. It's about the right fit for a particular buyer. So both of the neighborhoods definitely have a different feel to them. The houses are different. The streets are different. The landscaping is different. It just feels different. And when buyers are entering into a neighborhood and they're buying a house that they're planning to live in for many years, the feel of the neighborhood is really important. And I actually talked about this in my recent video discussing why a lot of buyers actually choose more established neighborhoods like Valley Green instead of newer construction subdivisions. And this topic sort of plays right into that. So Zillow is not going to tell you what a neighborhood feels like. It's only going to give you data and facts. So if you're a buyer, you really need to look at the neighborhoods, spend some time walking through the neighborhoods, driving through the neighborhoods, and see if you can actually envision your life happening in that particular subdivision. So another important topic is within a certain neighborhood, the actual street by street differences matter. And once again, this is going to go back to each unique buyer and what they're looking for. But there are some locations within a subdivision that may be better or command a premium than other houses in the same subdivision. So for example, some houses might back up to a busier road and maybe there's a little bit more noise. Some houses are maybe on a cul-de-sac and it's a nice quiet dead-end street and buyers might pay a premium for that. Also, some lots might be larger than other lots depending on their location within the neighborhood. So it's important to not only understand the differences between the neighborhoods, but to also understand the differences within each particular neighborhood, because the street by street locations do matter. Another thing is that, and this is something that's really important, is lifestyle. Zillow cannot tell you what the lifestyle is. So we're talking about walking trails, nearby amenities, restaurants, medical facilities, all of the things that are really important to where you live and that are part of your life and improve the quality of your life. Zillow can't explain that to you. That's something that you have to feel and experience for yourself. And I recommend, if you're moving to a new area, especially if you're coming from outside of the region. So let's say if you're not even from the Lehigh Valley and you're moving into the Lehigh Valley, or maybe you are in another part of the Lehigh Valley and you're moving to Center Valley or Coopersburg, I recommend spending time there. And I'm going to tell you a quick story because this plays right into it. When my family moved here from New York, we were going to a different area within the Lehigh Valley, and we visited and it looked really nice and we were going to move there. And then we decided, well, we don't really know the area that well. Let's spend like 3 days and just explore the area and stay there and see what it would actually be like to live there. And when we did that, we realized that it was not the right fit for us. And that's the important takeaway. Every buyer is looking for something different. And what's right for one buyer is not going to be right for another buyer. So because we took that extra time and spent it there, we reevaluated and then looked into other areas and ultimately ended up in Center Valley, which was exactly what we were looking for. So if you're moving to a new area, spend the time, do the research, go to the stores, walk around, walk on the trails, see if you can envision your life happening in that location. It's something that's really important. When I'm working with buyers, I always tell them the last thing that I want is to help them buy a house and then have them regret it. So all of these factors play a very important role, and you need to take that into account. You might love a house might be exactly what you're looking for, but if it's in the wrong neighborhood or the wrong location for you, if it doesn't make sense for your needs and your lifestyle, then the perfect house can actually not be the right house. And it might be worth taking a house that maybe doesn't have everything you need, but has the location that you want. Because the location is one thing that you cannot change. You can change everything within the house, and I tell my buyers this too. Don't get caught up on cosmetics. You want to look at the location, the lot, the square footage, the architecture, the structure of the house. Things that cannot easily be changed. Don't focus on the cosmetic stuff as much because that can always be changed later on. So you have to take that into account. And some buyers do need a move-in ready house, and it depends on what your situation is. But it's important to really focus on what neighborhood you want to be in. So the next point I want to make here, I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything, is, and this sort of plays right into what I was just talking about, is that buyers are not just buying a house. And I say this fairly often also. Buyers are not just buying a house. They're buying a lifestyle. They're buying into a neighborhood, and they're buying into a place where they're going to see their life happening every single day. So this is the reason why I make neighborhood sites. And I have Nick G sells valleygreen.com, Nick G sells sunrisevalley.com, and my main site, nickgsellspa.com, is for Upper Saucon Township, the whole township. And there will be additional neighborhood sites coming out in the future, but for other subdivisions within the township. The reason why I make these neighborhood sites and create resources and videos and blog articles and content specifically surrounding these neighborhoods is because buyers are not just buying a house, they're buying a lifestyle, and they need to they want to learn more about the neighborhood, and also for sellers, because selling a house in one subdivision is different than selling a house in another subdivision, even if you're in the same township. And it's really important that sellers and buyers get that really personalized service where they can really dig deep into a specific location so that they understand exactly what to expect. So that's the reason why I have my neighborhood sites. Like I said, there will be more neighborhood sites in the future. But I wanted to just quickly hit on this topic because it sort of plays into a lot of the other topics I've been talking about recently. So just going back to the beginning, if you're a buyer and you're utilizing Zillow, I would encourage you to keep using it. It's an excellent tool to use. There's a lot of benefits of using it, but there are certain things that it cannot tell you. And those are the things that I will help you walk through. And that's why I have my resources and my neighborhood sites to look into. So if you're a buyer or a seller and you're interested in Upper Saucon Township or some of these other subdivisions, check out my sites.